Hi there. Hi. Morning. Morning, everyone. And it's my pleasure to be with you here again. And this morning, wish you the best. Glad to see you. And we are just like pulling together what we are discussing about Google and Facebook. Yesterday, we filmed the session about how Google and Facebook invading our privacy and how they are like spying and making use of my personal data and your personal data without permission. We didn't admit it that our data should be exposed to advertisers, but these two gigantic companies are doing much behind the scene. I'd like to go on the same page, and I'd like to shed more light on how your data should be protected. And we will examine if Google and Facebook taken serious steps to ensure that our personal data is protected. As a matter of fact, there are recent announcements from Google and from Facebook. And these announcements are just like ensuring that we are protected. We are protected. At least we have the means to protect ourselves. Our data, yes, my data and your data, personal data is protected. What I was just highlighting how you can protect your data yesterday, I said that there are complicated steps or procedures to ensure that your data is protected. But I said they are making it so hard. They are making it hard or as hard as possible. So you cannot follow all the steps. And you'll choose the easiest way, and you'll ignore that being protected. You ignore to make the steps to protect yourself because it's so complicated. So when Facebook requests from you to follow many steps, complicated steps, you are not competent. Right now, for example, I'd like just to share the ideas with you, and we are sharing ideas. My dad, for example, and your dad right now, your mom and my mom, for example, they are over 70s, yes, or they are around 80ish or 70ish. And they are using Facebook right now. They are using Facebook. And they are using Google, of course. Do you think that your dad, for example, your grandpa, your grandma, they had enough info to follow all these complicated steps? I think it, it's something like saying to someone, please go and swim right now and cross to the other bank. And this order is not possible because you order someone to swim, but he couldn't do that because he never learned in his life how to swim. So it's impossible. It's beyond the bounds of reason. Beyond the bounds of reason. So you cannot say to someone who is ignorant of texts or technologies to follow complicated steps or procedures in order to secure himself or to secure his data. This is weird. It's unbelievable in a way. Anyway, Google and Facebook, the same on the same page. And despite what I said, despite their recent announcements, they are saying we will let users automatically, this Google, for example, Google is announcing that we will let users of Google to delete automatically their history. And right now, if you go to the settings of Google, you'll find in the settings, there are options. If you click the captions or the options, you'll find there is an option, and these options makes you able to delete your history if you set it. If you follow the settings, if you set up your smartphone, if you set up your MacBook, your laptop, if you set it, you are going to be able to delete your history automatically. And there are massive options. You can delete it automatically after 2 months, after 1 month, after 3 months, after 1 year, whatever you like, you can do. This one of the options. Despite this, they are, for example, making it a limit or a deadline of about 18 months, and then it will be deleted automatically. So you still have to know it is an option. To navigate through settings and then make the change. It is option. Then you need to navigate. You need to go through the options, the settings, and make the change. Then, if you don't go through the settings, if you don't navigate, you cannot make the change. That means your history, your search history, is going to be there. It's going to be stored if you didn't make the change, as I said. Simply, most people won't do that. Simply, and I assure you that simply most people won't do that. And Google knows this in fact. So Google knows that the settings and the options which makes it possible to delete your history is not going to be approached. You'll not approach it. You are not approaching these settings. So you can just complete your history because you are not making the change. They design it this way. They design it this way. Once again, I'm not just trying to or considering to give you heads up. I'm trying to discuss this matter with you. They design it this way intentionally. So, in the language of law, I could figure out, I could say it's not bona fide. It's malicious. It's maliciously done. It's intentionally done. So they complicated it. They make it complicated. So most of us will not approach the settings, and then they will not change it, and then your history is going to be stored, and still you are exposed to espionage. They'd rather you do not take the initiative to change anything about your relation with them, because that makes it harder for them to make money. Yes, it makes it harder for them to make money. It makes sense to me, and I think it's the same for you. Yeah, right now let's move on. Let's get a move and say that these two gigantic companies could make it easy, but they don't want to do that. They won't do that because they don't like to do that. They can make it easy, the most easiest way, but they don't. They won't. Both companies could provide a simple options or opt-in for collecting your information. This would be easy to implement. Of course, think about when a new app on your iPhone wants to use location, for example, it has to ask for permission. It has to ask for permission. Of course, when you just right now you are trying to install new app, frequently you are going to be asked for permission. Smartphone will ask you always to do this. Do you allow it or you block it? If you said you allow it, it's allowed, then it goes on. If you block it, so this is an option. Yeah. It has to ask for permission and explain generally what is needs in this information. What's needs from this information. Yeah. When you allow it, you allow what you are allowing right now. This is very important. It gives you a choice, and it can't use your personal information without your consent. It can't use your personal data without your consent. Consent. Please underline consent. This word is so important for me, like just something connected to the legal mind. When you're just hunting for a word in the legal language, you should just clarify what's going on right here. When we say in the eyes of law, consent, something which is very important and crucial in your transactions, in your future transactions, of course, going forward, you have to be careful. When something is, but you consent, it's very important. You cannot sue afterwards. You cannot sue if you given your consent. This consent is crucial in law. So they cannot, this app in your iPhone will not use your personal data without your consent. If you give the consent by clicking the button of allow, you are not blocking, you are allowing. You are saying allow, just I give my permission. Yes, I admit that, I admit it. If you admit it, that means you are giving your permission. You are permit. You are permitted. Yes, permit. This is my permit for you. Do it. I'm not blocking you. I'm not blocking you. So I give my permit. I give my consent. So it's consensual. Consensual. We say consensual. When it is consensual, they can use your personal data. It's not privacy. In the eyes of law, it is not privacy. They are not invading your privacy. I mean, in a nutshell, when you give him consent, it's consensual, and someone uses your personal data, it's something consensual, so there is no crime here. Nothing illegal. Nothing illegal. Because you agreed already to permit this using of your data. There is no espionage here. Okay, Facebook and Google, just right now I'm just taking examples. When I referred to the aforementioned example about the apps of iPhone, I tried to make it clear for you that you should first agree to what is going to be used from your personal data. Yes, your personal data. Yeah. Facebook and Google won't do the same because it makes no sense for them. You know, Facebook and Google will not do the same because it won't make sense for them. But right now, I think they are doing, especially Google in particular, Google is doing the same. I think so. If everyone chooses not to opt in, both companies would cease to exist as profitable enterprises. So, you see right now why Google and Facebook are not willing to give you the option to agree or disagree. Because if they give you this option, that means most of us may be willing to block, not to allow, or to give permit or to admit being spied on. No one is willing any sort of espionage, of course. So they are making it hard way. They are making it hard way because they don't want to make it easy way, though they can do it the easiest way. We can say again that Google and Facebook, both these gigantic companies, don't have your best interest in their mind. They are not interested in your benefit. They are interested to make profits, of course. And this is their right. This is their right. But why they are not interested and how we can say they are not interested. When I say they are not interested or they are not taking your interests in their minds, I have to prove it, have to prove it, have to prove it. What is my proofs? It's important. I should provide proofs. I should provide proofs. Next session, we will discuss why they are not interested, why they don't take your interest in their minds, and what are the proofs we can provide for you. Again, glad to see you, glad to be here with you, and I appreciate your patience, your being here, your support. Thank you. Till see you again. Wish you the best and goodbye.